Ladies and gentlemen, I hope everyone's having a fantastic night. I know that I am. It is Bigfoot here back again, your coach of the South Carolina Slither Wings, here to talk about Season 4. So just going to kind of hop right into it. On screen, of course, you're going to have the team that we ended it all with, the team that I had at the end of the season after all my trades. It was definitely a crazy season for sure in terms of it's just a big identity crisis that I had in terms of the team. The next slide we'll go over kind of the trades and everything, but and I'm sure we'll all get a good laugh out of it. But as you can see on the left, our record 7-7 with a +6 differential and a 5-1 divisional record. So just kind of general overview and thoughts of the season. Of course, the identity crisis portion of it, made a ton of trades, used every single one of our trades. Not really, what you want to look for in terms of the just general balance of your team and stuff during the season. Record-wise, of course, definitely not where we want to be. Had a lot better record in the previous season. I am going to actually just go back real quick and see if I can figure out exactly what... I don't actually know if I can see my ranking from previous seasons on here. Let's see if we do. I know in season 3, I was 5-1 again with the divisional record, but I was a lot better in terms of regular season record. 7-7, like I said, obviously not where we want to be. Lost a lot of games, but most importantly, won all of our important games except for one. We did very well in our division. We had Biff, Josh, me, and I'm a bozo, I have terrible memory, and Croc, yes. My one loss, that's why I forgot it, because I wanted to. Didn't want to remember that I lost. But yeah, had a pretty good showing in terms of our division. Of course, nobody can knock a 5-1 divisional record with you being the divisional leader. So secured all of our games there. Pretty dominantly, I would say. The loss to Croc, that definitely hurt. There was, unfortunately there were some hacks involved. But even then, it was definitely a tough game. He was playing very well. So more power to Croc. Of course, Darkrai, Iron Treads, Iron Hands, Slow King, Mega Venusaur, Chandelure, Titan, Vikavolt, Galarian Weezing, and then Big Boy Toadscroll. So that's just general overview. Let's kind of move into the next slide, which is going to be our trades. Now, try to keep up with me here as we navigate this. You guys remember the SpongeBob episode where it's like, we're not talking about this, we're not talking about this, but we're talking about this, and he's just waving his arms all around? That was my trades this season, for sure. So, the team on the left is what we started with. This is what we ended our draft with. So, Darkrai, Iron Treads, Slowking, Overquill, Oricorio, Togekiss, Vikavolt, Mega Venusaur, and Regidrago. So played, I think, actually a week. I think it was literally week 1. And going into week 2, I was like, I don't like this team. Not what I want anymore. So we made some trades. The first thing is we had, if you'll see up here, we had Regidrago as our Terra captain. Dragon and Poison, and then we swapped him out for Chandelure, and then made Chandelure our Terra captain into Ghost and Grass. And then also along with that, we dropped Mega Venusaur and went to Nagana Dell. And then played with that for a couple of weeks, and then just felt like it was very much him and Darkrai, they did well, but not together, because I just didn't have a really big physical attacker on my team, except for Iron Treads and Titan. Well, no, I definitely originally had Titan. Alright, I forgot my voice Titan. Pretend Titan's here. Mythology. But Titan was here from the beginning for sure, with Slowking. But so after a little bit of mulling it over, decided to trade Nagana Dell down to Mega Scizor. And then we also played a couple of weeks with him. Just felt like between him and Iron Treads and Vikavolt, it was just tough in terms of the fire type aspect, just having to deal with hidden power fires and stuff like that. And then I didn't like it. I didn't like the feeling. I enjoyed Mega Scizor. I would be very interested in maybe building a team more around Mega Scizor and using him, because he is very good. But just, I personally was not feeling it. So then that kind of leads us into the rest of the season with the rest of our trades. We went Mega Scizor back to Mega Venusaur, because I felt like I needed that bulk. Thick Fat, of course, gave me that fire type, not immunity, but my grass type, essentially not being weak to fire, is great. We traded Oricorio for Toedscruel, and then probably the two biggest trades, I would say, is Togekiss for Iron Hands, and then Overquill for Galarian Weezing. Now I did the Scizor back to Venusaur and the Togekiss to Iron Hands, Overquill to Galarian Weezing. I did all of those at one time, and that was the rest of our trades. So I was stuck with that version of the team for the rest of the season, which I was totally okay with. Iron Hands and Galarian Weezing, they brought a ton of bulk to the team that I didn't really have before. I wasn't really using Togekiss all that much. Looked at it, it was one of those things where you look at it every week and you just kind of decide, like, not for me. Didn't really want to bring it. So there's that. And then Overquill, I actually brought a lot. It was just dropping Togekiss. I wanted a fairy type. And Galarian Weezing was open. I needed a ground immunity and a fairy type. Galarian Weezing. Shout out to Chris for dropping Galarian Weezing for whatever reason. So yeah, that's kind of our roller coaster ride of an identity crisis during the season in terms of trades. So the end team is the one you saw previously, with all of those guys. So yeah, just a crazy, insane, like I said, roller coaster ride. And we will move on into the next one. So kind of gonna go through every mon, talk about them a little bit. Big Toedscruel, record 0-0. Didn't come to a game. And his highlights were he was on the team. That was the highlights for Big Toedscruel. Had a vision for Toedscruel. Got rid of Oricorio for him, so kept hazard removal on the team with Rapid Spin for Defog, or Defog for Rapid Spin. Also, Spore User to be paired with Darkrai, so possibly put things to sleep and maybe get to set up Calm Minds or subs or something like that. And he's actually pretty bulky. He's not like terribly frail, and he gets good coverage. He gets like Spore, Hazards, Rapid Spin. Gets things like Dazzling Gleam, Sludge Bomb, stuff like that. So that was kind of the vision with Toedscruel. Unfortunately, just with how late in the season I got him, it was just, I could never justify bringing him over something else. So unfortunately, Toedscruel didn't really get to do too much or anything at all. especially come playoff time. I did look at him a couple of times for a couple of different matchups, but in testing, he just, unfortunately, Mycelium Mite is just a terrible ability, and, you know, a base 100 Pokemon speed-wise that, you know, can't be a fast Spore user is definitely unfortunate. So, thank you, Toadscroll. I salute you for being on the team. You were a handicap for our opponents. Thanks. Next, we have Galarian Weezing, our boy Now That We're Men. Shout out to the SpongeBob movie. His record was 3 kills, 5 deaths. Came to 5 games and 2 sets. We got him pretty late in the season. You know, so a lot of these mons, their record-wise and stuff like that, they're going to be pretty low, and you know, a vast majority, honestly, my team was in the negative. But that was just, you know, if I had this version of my team the entire season, I think we'd be talking about, you know, such a different record in terms of the 7-7. But highlights for Galarian Weezing, came up so clutch in semifinals. Was able to just completely, essentially nullify Scolipede, which was Mnaz's biggest threat to our team. If that thing got, you know, out of hand in the late game, it was definitely going to be very, very tough for me to win. So he was very crucial in that. He held Scolipede to only 3 kills. So holding something that, you know, has the potential to sweep our team is definitely, you know, I'll take that any day of the week. Great Will-O-Wisp mon, great Defogger. He lived in Earth Power from Kyurem Black to you know, keep it from Substitute. You know, just stayed in, played a couple mind games, got a couple strange teams off, stuff like that. Yeah, Galarian Weezing, great addition to the team. I'm super glad we added him, you know, as our replacement for Togekiss. Galarian Weezing has two you know, very good playoff runs in him. So congratulations to Galarian Weezing, and I appreciate your service, sir. Next, we have a mon that is very near and dear to my heart, Vikavolt. I absolutely love Vikavolt. It is such a slept-on mon. I hope I was able to show that. I don't think it kind of came across to everybody else as well as it did for me, but I knew Vikavolt was good, but he very much surprised me this season. Our boy Kaminari, 11-13, so not terrible. It came to 15 games and 6 sets. So a couple of these, I believe one of them was playoffs. If I'm not mistaken, I brought Webbs to one playoff game. Other than that, he of course, the highlights. You know, when you think of Vikavolt, you don't really think of a wall, but Mega Gallade and Great Tusk had such a hard time breaking this thing. I don't think I ever actually got Vikavolt out in front of Mega Gallade, but I can promise you, in terms of the damage calcs, that it was going to do very well, especially because there was no way my guy was going to have Rock Slide. Now, Josh, of course, we played Josh twice, and walled Great Tusk very well the first time, and then after that, he did bring the Stone Edge, but still was able to take a Stone Edge from a Great Tusk, keeping him from being able to spam Headlong Rush and Close Combat is always a very good thing. Also, with no special attack investment, with that monster 145 base special attack, I mean, you're able to threaten things. You know, Volt switches are doing 25 to 30% uninvested. Energy balls to Great Tusk are almost OHKOing, doing a lot of damage to Gastrodon with a quad effective hit. You know, uninvested Vikavolt with just max HP, max defense, bold nature. You know, if you're running Boots, you're running Leftovers, you have Roost. I mean, he's just a fantastic mon. I am so happy that I had him. Sticky Webs brought a lot of value to the team, of course, because you have to prep for Sticky Webs. If you don't, and I bring Vikavolt and you get set up on, then, you know, GG. And then also shout out, we have a low tier, high value nomination. So people definitely saw, Vikavolt doing very well, and gave him a little bit of praise for it. So unfortunately didn't win, but I was just happy he was there for sure. Just a little bit of recognition goes a long way for me. So thank you, Vikavolt. Now we're getting to another mon that I love a lot, and that is Titan, aka the King of the North. Record 22-17, 24 games played and 10 sets. Of course, we have the duo of Titan and Slowking, so the chilly reception into the Slush Rush. Did bring Sheer Force one time, I believe, against Biff. Was trying to trick room Sheer Force type of thing. So, highlights. In playoffs, we set a league record of 14 kills in a single set. Now, Belly Drum helps a lot with that, and in terms of matchups, Titan had a very, very, very good matchup into Josh's team in the semifinals game. Of course, the Titan is just going to make you prep for the weather, because if you don't prep for it and I do bring it, then you're in a little bit of a rough spot. And of course, Belly Drum ASMR. Once that belly drum gets off, if I'm able to get it off in front of something, the target was Mandabuzz in the semifinals game, which we were able to do a couple of times. It is very, very, very tough to deal with. Has priority, even if something is scarfed or I learned that something's faster than me for whatever reason, even in the snow. But even after the snow, +6 ice shards from Titan are doing a whole lot of damage. Very consistent mon for me. I loved using it. I love Hail, and the Slush Rush mons. Ice type is one of my favorite typings, so shout out to Titan. Next we have the other half of the duo in Slowking, our boy Davos Seaworth. Record 8-18, 28 games played, 11 sets. Titan was a mon that was here almost every single week. He was the defensive MVP and the backbone of the team. See a couple more highlights. You have chilly reception, of course, with our Titan. Definitely would not have been able to have Titan do as well as he did without Slowking. Covers a lot of weaknesses for the team, especially paired with things like Darkrai and Iron Treads, being able to help fight off those fighting types. And then, of course, in the finals game against Plaz, just did super well in helping check Mega Gardevoir and King Gambit. Of course, you kind of look at that and go, how in the world does this mon check King Gambit? We'll talk about that later. But yeah, there's not much to say about Slowking, except for he was the backbone. He was here to just kind of carry the defensive weight of the team and come in when we need to take hits and get out into, whether it's a Titan or something else, he was there to do it. I feel like I always tend to have that one mon that is just kind of the backbone of the team. I can think of Lantern in our earlier seasons. He was kind of my only wall, and he came like every game and he was going crazy. Had Mega Aggron last season. Our teams are kind of getting more and more bulky, but I feel like there's always that one wall that stands out, and Slowking is definitely that. So great job to him. Next we have Big Iron Hands, our boy Killua. Record is 13 kills, 9 deaths, 10 games played, and 4 sets. Now, of course, Iron Hands was something we added later into the season. This is also his first appearance in Big Juice, so welcome Iron Hands to Big Juice. Did very well. 13-9, not the best record, but again, in terms of however many games he came and for how long he was on the team, did very well. Added a ton of bulk, AV, Iron Hands, max HP, max special defense, adamant nature. You're still hitting things super hard with that attack stat, and it does so well. And of course, in the highlights, you see my big choice band hands. Shout out to JC. for the help with the prep for finals. I mean, he was just able to come in and do so much. In terms of damage calcs, you have to be terrified of this thing. I mean, I had people bring in 4 Will-O-Wisp Mons, just to deal with Iron Hands, to keep it from walling something and one-hitting it. Choice Band Hands, I'm always a fan of the offensive side of Mons. And in finals, Choice Band Hands, did me so proud. Was able to put a lot of damage on the Mudsdale, and just it was going to one-hit Plaza's entire team, except for Gardevoir with close combat. It was just, there were things, it was minimum, things were taken 85, minimum. So shout out to Iron Hands, appreciate all the work that he did. Just another pivot for the team that's just bulky and able to hit things back really hard. And of course we have Mega Venusaur, our girl Eden. She is 1-9, 10 games played, 4 sets. So obviously brought her to the first game of the season. It was unfortunately a loss. And then after that, just a couple of the matchups, even in our division, outside of our division, I felt like me and Mega Venusaur had just kind of gotten power creeped out, and I wasn't really enjoying using it, didn't really know how to use it, so just kind of general frustration with everything like that. So dropped after week 1. Definitely not the correct decision. Should have kept Mega Venusaur for the entire season. In finals, it just went crazy though. I am so happy I got Mega Venusaur back, because Plaz didn't think it was coming, and it was able to do what it did, just kind of sit in front of his whole team. And then of course Leech Seed ASMR, you just spam those Leech Seeds and you're just getting health back on mons that are coming in. Then you can do a little bit of damage and Leech Seed again, and it's just Mega Venusaur did so well in the later parts of the season in terms of the playoff run and even into finals. My personal, probably the, I've definitely say, it's definitely probably not my favorite Mega that I've used. I do like Venusaur, the best Gen 1 starter. I love that they gave it a Mega, and the fact that it's thick fat, it was so good for the team. Like I said, I'm really sad that I didn't give it more of a chance during the regular season, because I think we would have done so much better if I just, kind of staved off my general frustrations with trying to learn how to use my team with Mega Venusaur first. But so glad we got him back. I would definitely use it again. I would definitely build a better team around it, and put him on a better team. And of course, now that I've kind of figured out how to use Mega Venusaur, glad I had the learning experience, would definitely draft it again. Now we're getting down into my favorite mons on the team. Our boy Chandelure, aka Rengoku, RIP the GOAT. 15-18 for the record, 22 games played and 9 sets. This is our Terra captain. This was one of the better decisions I made. Whenever I was looking at trading Reggie Drago, it was either going to be Chandelure or it was going to be Satitan. I was thinking about making Satitan like Terra Ice, Terra Electric, stuff like that, give it the Volt Beam coverage. But looked at Chandelure after I picked him up, and one of my favorite mons, one of the best shinies in Pokemon history. And thought, hey, this is going to be good. Terra Grass, Terra Ghost. Terra Ghost, obviously just for those strong stab, ghost type Shadow Balls. There are not a lot of switch-ins for this except for Dark and Ghost and normal types. If you don't have a resist, this thing's running pockets. Now, Terra Grass, in terms of a more defensive option for Chandelure, did very well. I even thinking back to the entire season, I brought Terra Grass the majority of games. Terra Ghost was more of a playoff run type of thing, just for the additional damage. So, of course, Terra Grass with Flash Fire, you take away your weakness. You are now no longer weak to, you're immune to fire. You are not weak to Earthquake anymore in terms of being a fire type. You now have stab energy balls, so you're hitting those water types, those ground types and stuff like even harder. So just good synergy there. He had a very, very, very critical role in our quarterfinals game against MNAS. And also during our regular season games with Josh, he was able to actually wall a Rotom Heat, which it was very tough for us to deal with Rotom Heat without this Chandelure. And then of course later when he picked up Mandibuzz, was able to actually ran the Toxic Stall with Toxic Protect Chandelure, and did a lot of work to his team the second time that we played. Really, really enjoyed using Chandelure the entire season. Definitely gonna miss him. Just one of my, favorite ghost types. Him as a Terra captain was just so much fun to use. The damage output plus the defensive capabilities of these two Terra types together was just a very good and pivotal role for the team. So, moving down into my second favorite Mon on the team, Iron Treads, our boy Choji. 23 and 23, so completely even record. 28 games played and 11 sets. Iron Treads, of course, see the highlights. AV Treads in finals just completely shut down Mega Gardevoir. Mega Gardevoir, super threatening Pokemon, did very well into my team. I had 2 poison types and a fighting type. So Mega Gardevoir actually, has a great matchup. AV Treads came in super clutch. It took even a modest Gardevoir did only it did 35 to 40 something with Aura Sphere. So modest Gardevoir doing that little to an Iron Treads on a super effective hit is amazing. Heat set, we brought week 1 weakness policy Iron Treads, did go crazy. Unfortunately, we didn't win. But what a way to start off the season than to have a Tinglu Proc R weakness policy with Earthquake and then, go on to sweep the team. Of course, he was our main hazard and Rapid Spin on the team. Just being able to keep those hazards off the field and not be weak to any of them in terms of rocks and also immune to toxic spikes. Brought a lot of speed, very good bulk. Brought our steel ground type. Iron Treads is a mon I would absolutely use again. If you had asked me whenever these mons were revealed in terms of we were getting some usage out of them, where I would have ranked Iron Treads on top, in terms of the Paradox mons, I would have ranked him very low. As in nowhere near Great Tusk level of a Pokemon, very middling tier Pokemon, that sort of thing. I have gained so much respect for this Pokemon. He's definitely up there for me in terms of the Paradox Mons now. A lot higher than he originally was. So thank you, Iron Treads. I have loved using you. I hope to maybe see you again in a later season down the line. But with that, we are going to move on to my favorite member of the team, and that is of course our captain, Darkrai. Now I say our captain, of course we have a Mega and a Terra captain, but Darkrai has been a mon that I have been fighting to get in the league for a long time, and with a little bit of thanks to Gen 9 for power creeping a lot of the older Pokemon, Darkrai being one of them, and then a couple of restrictions we put on it. We were able to allow it. Now, of course, my boy Balerion, record 29 and 19, 29 games played, 19 sets played. Just a staple for the team. It's Darkrai. There's not much you really need to explain about a mon as great and as cool as this. Had some very clutch flinches for us in the finals game. There were some hacks going both ways, up until Darkrai hit the field. I think Plaz was definitely winning the hacks battle, but Darkrai decided to level the playing field with Dark Pulse. He's just a fantastic wall breaker or a late game cleaner. You can use him for either one. His coverage is fantastic. He gets dragon moves, gets poison moves. Of course, you have setup. You have, I think I even brought Swords Dance Darkrai to a game. He ended up being Scarf most weeks. And we did have a couple of choice specs weeks with Darkrai. And in finals, we ended up being heavy duty boots. But that being said, we end up just completely and utterly loving this Pokemon more so than I already did. And just so happy I was able to use him in a competitive format. Shout out to Gen 4 Supremacy. Just for being the best generation in Pokemon history, bringing us some of the best and coolest mons. So, glad we were able to use him in his first season that he has been allowed. Definitely just unforgettable Pokemon. Enjoyed using him so much. I'm rambling on at this point about Darkrai, but this is my guy. He is definitely, in the top 5 of draft Pokemon for me personally, along with things like Slitherwing. I loved using Iron Valiant, loved Vikavolt. Mega Aggron was fantastic. Mega Gallade. I have so many Pokemon that I could talk about for hours. Everybody knows I'm Mr. Copium with all my mons. They're just the best. But that's going to move us into Season 4 Finals Champs, baby. That's right. We took the season. Just an unbelievable ride, man. I mean, 7-7 with only a +6 differential going into playoffs, barely making playoffs in terms of if a couple of different things, if we lost even one more game during the regular season in terms of our division, then we might even be out of playoffs, not even in there. So, like I said, just a crazy ride. Wanted to kind of talk about the sets that I brought. This was the team that was able to bring a chip home to the Slitherwings. First season as the South Carolina Slitherwings after rebranding from the Monroe Minans. And what more could you ask than in your new season? What do they call it? I can't think of the word. I can't think of the term they call it. Maiden voyage, I think is the term. For the Slitherwings to bring home a chip. I'm looking forward to getting the belt. I've only ever held the belt or seen it in passing, as in shipping it to Plaz. So, gonna be happy to have the belt down south again. But let's talk a little bit about the sets. So of course, in testing, we were talking about a couple different mons. Even thought about bringing Toedscroll to this game. I had Iron Hands originally, and I was looking at him in a more defensive light. And then JC kind of opened my eyes to the Choice Band one hits his entire team. Aside from Gardevoir, and even a quad resistant hit from Gardevoir did almost 50. So we'll start with Darkrai. So heavy duty boots was to avoid the sticky webs, because the first time that Plaz and I played, sticky webs was very annoying to deal with, and even the damage output that Darkrai has with the specs I felt it was just better to have the speed because Darkrai outsped everything on his team, barring a Scarfer. And he did not end up actually bringing a Choice Scarfmon to finals. So Darkrai was faster than his entire team. See the coverage moves: Dark Pulse, Sludge Bomb, Thunderbolt, Ice Beam. Dark Pulse for anything that doesn't resist it. Sludge Bomb was for Mega Gardevoir. Thunderbolt was for the Araquanid, and Ice Beam was for the Noivern. Just a fantastic coverage. 252 special attack, 252 speed, speed boosting nature. Not much else to say about it. Shout out to Darkrai. Pretty much the entire reason, not the entire reason, but very clutch flinches, like I said earlier, to keep us in the game, and was able to actually end it up with Darkrai versus Cinderace, and bring it home with Darkrai. So next part, I would consider the duo of Darkrai and Iron Treads our two most, probably our two best members of the team. AV, Iron Treads, max HP, max special defense, specially defense boosting nature, Earthquake, Iron Head, Rapid Spin, and Volt Switch. Just an incredible wall. I mean, even I still have a good defense stat, so even physical hits I'm taking, Hyper Voice, Psychic, Psyshock, Immune Thunderbolt, Aura Sphere was the only thing we could really get threatened by, and it only did 30 to 35 to almost 40. I know getting 3 hit by Gardevoir doesn't really, sound very appealing, but not being 1 hit and then in turn behind screens with no attack investment but the 4, I did 50% to make a Gardevoir. So with no screens, you're looking at about 90%. It's a roll to kill from full with no attack investment. So Iron Treads just put in a lot of work being able to get the sticky webs off the field, Volt Switch a couple of times to be able to give us that momentum, and just being able to play mind games with Gardevoir along with Slowking and Mega Venusaur, which I'll hit on Slowking next. The other half of the kind of check to Mega Gardevoir and King Gambit, because the only thing that King Gambit could really hit Iron Treads with, aside from Terra Dark moves, was Low Kick or Low Sweep, whatever fighting type move he gets. And even then, we're doing a whole lot of damage back with Iron Head and Earthquake. So, Cobra Berry Slowking was specifically for the King Gambit. This max HP, max defense. Unfortunately, we still take like 60% from Cinderace. But Scald, Shadow Ball, Counter, and Teleport. Did not bring Titan to this game. Unfortunately, I would have loved to bring him to finals after the record he set in the semifinals. But just valued Iron Hands and Chandelure a little bit more. Scald, of course, is normal, try to burn things, that sort of thing. Shadow Ball was for Gardevoir. I didn't want him to send in Gardevoir on Slowking and be able to get any substitutes off, so brought that. Counter was for if I brought this out in front of Cinderace after, maybe something fainted, or if I was able to get this in front of King Gambit, able to hit both of those Mons. Essentially, if Cinderace U-turns, something else on Plaza's team just completely dies from full health, because it does like 60. And then Cobra Berry Counter was for the Terra Dark, like if it was knockoff, if it was, pursuit, whatever it was just here to counter the King Gambit and the Cinderace. And then Teleport instead of Chilly Reception, it's going to go a lot better with our Synthesis Mega Venusaur. So moving just kind of back down to Chandelure. Just here to do damage. That was it. Simple as that. Terra Ghost. I believe I brought Terra Ghost to quarterfinals, Terra Grass to semifinals, and then Terra Ghost again in finals. Modest nature, 252 special attack, 252 speed with the Choice Scarf item. Just able to throw off those shadow balls was just incredible damage. A automatic one hit to Mega Gardevoir and a whole lot of damage to the rest of his team, no matter what it was. AV Mudsdale did end up making an appearance, even though I did not think Mudsdale would make an appearance because of Venusaur. So, Mudsdale took like 30%, I think, which is actually very impressive, to only take 30 from a modest Terraghost Shandy. 2 standard moves, Shadow Ball, Flamethrower, and then we have Will-O-Wisp in case we need to play mind games with the King Gambit. I was expecting Pursuit on the King Gambit because if you send this out on Chandelure, I essentially just have to hit you. I can't risk switching out and you pursuing me and then me losing a mon for free to King Gambit. Just not what I wanted to do. So if he ever sent it out when I wasn't already locked into something, clicking Will-O-Wisp just to be able to play those Sucker Punch mind games. And Trick was just a good last move. Was very afraid, honestly, to trick something on Paz's team, a Choice Scarf. Because looking at the matchup wise, both of our teams are pretty slow, which I thought was funny. And just giving something a Choice Scarf didn't really seem what I wanted to do, but just in case it was like a wall like Glamora or Araquanid or Mudsdale, just possibly tricking those. Did bring Flash Fire, just in case for Cinderace. If I needed to swap him in front of something. I could have brought Infiltrator, didn't think he was going to bring Screens. He brought Screens Glamora. There was no predicting that just in any universe ever. Not that it's a bad set, just not. I was expecting more of a Corrosion Glamora to be able to Toxic my Venusaur. But he did not think Venusaur was coming, so he brought Mudsdale and Glamora with Toxic Spikes. Shandy just did fantastic in the game. I mean, just nukes. Just him and Darkrai in playoffs. Put on so much offensive pressure. Just incredible. Moving on to Mega Venusaur. Synthesis, Leech Seed, Earth Power, and Sludge Bomb. Max HP, max defense boosting nature. This did so well. I knew going into this game that he only had a couple of things for this. He had Mega Gardevoir and he had Noivern. Noivern did not make an appearance. So as soon as I loaded in the game and didn't see Noivern, I went, he has no way to kill Mega Venusaur. Like, it is so difficult for him to deal with this thing as long as I keep it healthy and play it well. Last minute change the day of the game. I originally had Protect on this thing with Leech Seed. So glad I changed it for Synthesis. Literally like a finals winning move change on this mon. Was able to just stay up. I expected Psycho Cut King Gambit. I knew he was going to have Zen Headbutt on Cinderace. And of course Mega Gardevoir being able to hit it, and like I said, I expected Noivern. But just was able to sit in front of a lot of things, barring flinches and everything, the unfortunateness of game 1, I essentially made King Gambit a moot point with Venusaur. Venusaur always, even when he was flinching me, he ended up being like 50% HP from just being in front of Venusaur. Got some clutch poisons off with Sludge Bomb, some big damage off with Earth Power, able to keep the Glamora in check. Just, again, so glad I had Mega Venusaur for the latter parts of the season. Was he was the finals MVP. Because there was, nobody else really did as much as he did in terms of being able to keep Plaza's entire team in check. Him playing those mind games with Gardevoir where, he couldn't not use a Psychic type move when Mega Venusaur was out because he just had to kill it. And if, he did risk it one time and I stayed in and sludge bombed or leech seeded or earth powered, and he just took so much damage that it wasn't. And I didn't take anything from an aura sphere, and I was gonna eat a hyper voice because it's a fairy type move. So it just being able to force those mind games and then me go out into Slow King or Iron Treads to be able to eat those hits and then pivot out and stuff like that was just fantastic. Like I said, Finals MVP. From getting dropped week 1 to being re-picked up by the same team into being the Finals MVP, crazy journey. Can't ask for much more than that. And then probably my favorite set that we brought, like I said, shout out to JC, was the Choice Banded Iron Hands. Pretty much max HP, max attack. Wanted to put a little bit of speed in there because I didn't want him to. I was speed creeping a speed creep of a speed creep, if you know what I'm saying, for the King Gambit. I didn't actually calc how much like my speed was. I just put 16 in there. Didn't need the other points into attack or defense. It just didn't need it. This thing genuinely one hit Plaza's entire team. If I clicked Wild Charge and you did not have Rotomo, Glamora, or King Gambit on the field, the rest of the team got O-code. Cinderace, one-hit kill. Noivern, one-hit kill. Gardevoir, one-hit kill. Mudsdale takes 1,000,000 from close combat. Rotomo takes 1,000,000 from close combat. Gardevoir takes 50 from close combat. Close combat, Wild Charge, Facade, Iron Head. Iron Head, just a coverage move. Never clicked it. Facade was in case we got, status pretty much burned, which didn't end up coming into play, so I'm super glad I had it. Thank you to the people who brought 4 Will-O-Wisp mons against me and taught me a lesson to never not bring Facade on this thing. Wild Charge, of course, just for damage, big damage, like I was saying earlier. One hits everything, Araquanid, Cinderace, Gardevoir, Noivern. Dunsparce took a lot of damage, unless it was like max HP, max defense with Eviolite, but close combat was still taking care of that thing. But yeah, man, coming to the close of this video, it's hard to top this. The only thing I would have, like I said, I've regretted is doing all the trades. Obviously, I would have loved to have this version of my team the entire season. If I had this version of my team the entire season, I think we're talking about a very different record. I absolutely, Plaz asked me about middle of the season, kind of where I was in terms of my team. I have enjoyed every iteration of this team. But in terms of my fun factor, it was always very high. In terms of how good do I think my team actually was, I would say that this was my worst team that I've ever drafted. Maybe not where it ended up. The end result team, aside from our boy Toad Scroll, it was very good. I enjoyed it. I think the team had great synergy. It was a very bulky team. It was a little slow, but it didn't really matter because I had things like Darkrai and Satitan in the snow and Iron Treads right here, and Scarf Shandy was here most of the time. So like my speed was there in between like these other 3 to 4 walls that I had that just kind of substituted in and out every week. All in all, a very enjoyable season. You cannot knock a season where you come in and you're not really doing the best, not playing the best, that sort of thing, and then once crunch time hits, I am 8-1 in terms of my most important games during the season. 5-1 in the divisional, and then of course you're looking at the quarterfinals, semifinals, and a win in finals. I want to give a big shout out to a couple people. Shout out to JC and Sal. You guys helped me out a ton this season in terms of prep and scrims and stuff like that. So shout out to you guys. And then my final shout out is shout out to Plaz. Best finals in Big Juice. I know there's only been 4, but definitely the best one in terms of storyline wise. A guy who is undefeated. 16-0 going into finals, hadn't lost a game in about a year. And coming in and getting beat by the 7-7 guy. Now, in terms of team matchups, I did have, I said it myself, I did have a pretty Mickey run in playoffs, but, still was able to get to finals and win it. We went the distance, 5 games. You literally cannot ask for a better finals in terms of excitement. I wish there was a little bit less hacks involved on both ends. I don't want to win by flinching you, but I think the hacks did end up evening out, like everyone was saying. So, but yeah, I just want to, of course, thank you guys to everybody in Big Juice. We all couldn't do this. I couldn't do this without you guys. So I appreciate all of you guys being here and making Big Juice what it is. I am looking forward, of course, to the future and to what the rest of the seasons in Big Juice will hold. Thank you to the team. You guys did just a fantastic job. Being able to pull the finals out in our first season as the Slitherwings. So with that being said, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for supporting the entire season and watching this crazy roller coaster ride of a journey into a championship with a crown next to the name. With that being said, I'm going to get out of here. See you guys later. Season 4 champs, baby.